Envision your daily routine. You wake up, check the news on your phone, plan your commute to work using a mapping application, perhaps even listen to a podcast on a curious subject. Technology is so deeply interwoven into our lives that it becomes nearly invisible, a natural extension of our senses and capabilities. What if, amidst this digital familiarity, something utterly inexplicable began to manifest? Something that defies logic and our understanding of the physical and virtual worlds. It all began subtly, almost imperceptibly. A new dot appeared on digital maps, a city with streets, squares, schools, hospitals, and even official buildings, as if it had always been there, a persistent datum in a universe of ever-flowing information. Initially, the reaction was one of skepticism, a murmur among digital geographers and software developers. A system error, many thought, just another bug lost in the vastness of the internet, an ephemeral glitch that would be rectified in a future update. After all, how could an entire location, with all the infrastructure of a metropolis, simply materialize out of nowhere in our navigation systems? What makes this anomaly even more intriguing is its universality. This wasn't an isolated error in a single application or on a specific device. Soon, all navigation applications, without exception, began to display the same place. It was an unprecedented phenomenon. It didn't matter if you used your smartphone to get around town, the built-in GPS in your car, or even highly precise and complex military software. The city was there, imposing and undeniable in the data, yet entirely absent from the tangible world. What followed was a surge of curiosity, mingled with a healthy dose of apprehension. Ordinary people, the curious and the adventurous alike, began attempting to reach it. Armed with the confidence that geolocation technology affords us, they followed routes plotted by GPS, driving down roads that, according to maps, should have led directly to the indicated spot. But invariably, the path terminated on ordinary streets that led nowhere, vacant lots where nothing appeared to have ever been built, or, in some more frustrating instances, dead-end roads that belied the promise of the digital destination. It was as if the city had developed a way to evade, to conceal itself from those who dared to seek it in the real world, keeping its existence confined to the realm of pixels and algorithms. This inability to physically access a location so meticulously mapped began to fuel increasingly fantastical theories. More disturbing accounts started to circulate, passed by word of mouth, shared on online forums, and documented in low-quality yet conviction-laden videos. People swore they had seen distant lights on the horizon, an ethereal glow that seemed to emanate from an entire city as night fell. Others claimed to have heard indistinct sounds, like the faint echo of bells, the murmur of urban traffic, or even voices that seemed to come from nowhere but vanished the moment one approached to investigate. It was as if the city existed only on a different plane of reality, a phantom echo that could be perceived, but never attained. And so, the narrative took on an even darker hue with the advent of the disappearances. Travelers, driven by curiosity or disbelief, who set out in search of the mysterious city, never returned. Drivers who vanished inexplicably en route, their cars found abandoned in places they shouldn't have been, with no signs of struggle or explanation. Explorers who, determined to unravel the enigma, ventured into remote areas following digital coordinates, and simply ceased to be, leaving no trace, not a single clue to their whereabouts. The city, once an intriguing curiosity, began to be perceived as a latent peril, an unknown portal with unknown consequences. The persistence of this digital entity in our physical world was, in itself, a puzzle. The city remained, visible on all digital maps, constantly updated, with new streets and buildings appearing as if added by an unseen urban planner. It was as if it were a real, active place, with a life of its own unfolding beyond our reach. Yet, no one had ever truly managed to set foot on its streets, feel the asphalt beneath their shoes, or breathe the air of its squares. The paramount question, echoing in curious minds and research laboratories, remained unanswered: whence came this city, and, more importantly, who truly inhabits it, in its elusive digital existence. This mystery is not merely about a point on a map, but about the very boundaries of our reality and what transpires when technology presents us with the impossible. The persistence of this digital city, seemingly impervious to the laws of traditional physics and cartography, compels us to reconsider the very nature of information and reality. Let us examine its impact through the lens of data engineering and artificial intelligence. Modern mapping systems are not mere static repositories of geographic information. They are dynamic ecosystems that absorb, process, and generate data in real time. The emergence of this city can be interpreted as a data anomaly of unprecedented magnitude, an emergent artifact of complex algorithmic interactions that have, somehow, transcended their virtual origins. Consider how machine learning algorithms, trained on vast geospatial datasets, could theoretically generate representations of places that do not physically exist but, for some reason, acquire such strong internal coherence that they manifest on other platforms. Perhaps this city is a kind of collective digital dream, a self-sustaining emergent data pattern. Or, more disturbingly, it could be the result of an advanced artificial intelligence actively constructing and maintaining a representation of a place, perhaps for an unknown purpose, manipulating available data to create the illusion of existence. Venturing into a more speculative realm, yet still grounded in computer science and information theory, we can entertain the possibility that this city is a reflection of a parallel dimension or an alternative plane of existence that, in some manner, is leaking into our digital world. The Internet and global computer networks have fostered an unprecedented interconnectivity, a web where information flows in ways not yet fully comprehended. If we consider information as a form of subtle energy or matter, it is conceivable that certain data patterns, particularly those that simulate complex structures like cities with high fidelity, could interact with other informational realities. This interaction might be viewed as a form of large-scale quantum interference, where our world's digital information resonates with informational structures in an adjacent domain, manifesting as a mapped yet inaccessible locale. The consistency across different navigation platforms suggests a phenomenon not specific to any single software, but rather an underlying pattern being interpreted and presented similarly by all systems accessing this anomalous data layer. Another compelling perspective lies within the psychology of perception and the influence of mass suggestion. We inhabit an era of instantaneous information and viral dissemination. Once the existence of this digital city was reported and widely circulated, a collective belief began to coalesce. This belief, bolstered by accounts of lights, sounds, and disappearances, might be subtly shaping how individuals interpret what they see and hear, or even how navigation systems themselves, reliant on a myriad of data sources including user feedback and traffic data, are subtly altering their representations. It's a feedback loop where expectation and belief can mold the perception of reality, even when that reality is technologically mediated. Consider how an initial error, however minor, amplified by collective attention and narrative propagation, can forge a self-sustaining reality within public discourse, and potentially even within certain aspects of data interpretation. The possibility that the city is, in part, a social construct amplified by technology cannot be readily dismissed. As we continue to explore the implications, let us consider how this digital ghost town challenges the very notion of proof and evidence in the modern world. We are accustomed to relying on digital data to validate the existence of something. A place mapped across all navigation systems should, by definition, be real. However, the absence of any physical trace, of any direct and verifiable observation beyond the anecdotal, casts a shadow over the reliability of digital information when confronted with a lack of tangible, empirical confirmation. This raises crucial questions about the nature of truth in an era of big data and complex algorithms. What constitutes the existence of a place? Is its accurate and ubiquitous representation in digital systems sufficient, even if it remains impossible to interact with physically? This dichotomy between digital presence and physical absence compels us to question the boundaries of our own perception and the criteria we employ to define what is real. The enduring nature of this city can also be examined through the lens of complex systems theory. In such systems, minor initial perturbations can lead to unpredictable, large-scale outcomes, a phenomenon colloquially termed the butterfly effect. The initial appearance of this city on digital maps, whether due to an error or a more profound cause, may have triggered a cascade of chain reactions within the vast network of digital interconnections. Update algorithms, simulated traffic data, interactions between disparate mapping platforms, all of these could have contributed to the solidification and perpetuation of this anomalous representation. It is as if the city has become an attractor within the global geographic information system, a stable pattern that, once established, resists correction or elimination. Its apparent currency suggests it is not static but rather a dynamic system that adapts and evolves within the digital milieu. Ultimately, the very existence of this inaccessible city compels us to contemplate the boundaries of our knowledge and the immensity of the unknown that still inhabits our world, even in an era of unprecedented connectivity and information. It embodies an enigma that manifests not in unexplored forests or the ocean's depths, but within the very fabric of our digital infrastructure. The quest to explain it drives us to probe new frontiers in computer science, artificial intelligence, and even the philosophy of information. It serves as a poignant reminder that, however advanced we may become, mysteries invariably await their unveiling, and that reality, in its deepest essence, may prove far stranger and more astonishing than we can conceive, revealing itself in the most unexpected of places. Reflecting on this journey thus far, one realizes that the threads we've woven are not merely about a point on a map, but about the very foundations of our perception of reality in an increasingly technology-mediated world. The intricate algorithmic interactions, data anomalies that defy conventional logic, and the potential for adjacent realities to manifest through the vast digital network converge on a crucial point: the way we define what is tangible and what is merely informational is in constant flux. What was once a mere system error has evolved into a multifaceted enigma, where data engineering, artificial intelligence, and even collective psychology intertwine to create a phenomenon residing on the cusp of the known and the inexplicable. The persistence and apparent self-updating of this digital entity suggest a dynamic of its own, an informational ecosystem operating under rules we have yet to decipher, reminding us that technological progress, while bringing clarity, can also unlock doors to even greater mysteries. As we draw nearer to the conclusion, it becomes evident that the narrative of this city, which materialized from obscurity, is not an isolated tale but a reflection of our own inquiries into the nature of information and its capacity to shape our understanding of the world. The consistency across disparate navigational platforms, the absence of direct empirical confirmation juxtaposed with digital ubiquity, and the accounts that oscillate between meticulous observation and collective suggestion, all contribute to a complex mosaic demanding a re-evaluation of our own validation criteria. Much like a river whose waters continue to flow even when its source is obscured, the implications of this city extend beyond its origins, inviting us to consider technology's impact on the very fabric of our experience. The manner in which data behaves, the way our expectations can influence perception, and the possibility that layers of reality exist which we are only beginning to glimpse, all coalesce to forge an anticipation for the final reflection. At this juncture in our exploration, the city that exists solely on digital maps ceases to be a mere technical curiosity and transforms into a potent symbol of the quandaries arising in the information age. The manner in which its existence is simultaneously undeniable within the systems we utilize daily and impossible to verify on a physical plane compels us into an intellectual exercise regarding the boundaries of our own cognition and the paradigms underpinning our understanding of what is real. The diverse theories and accounts that surround this phenomenon, ranging from the most scientific to the most speculative, converge upon a common point: the necessity of an open and curious mind to navigate the complexities of the modern world. What we have learned throughout this journey is that the pursuit of answers, even in the face of the inexplicable, is a fundamental driver of knowledge and innovation, and that uncertainty itself can be a wellspring of inspiration and discovery. The city that has manifested on our digital maps, an enigma floating between code and tangible reality, compels us toward profound contemplation on the nature of existence in our hyperconnected era. This is not merely a programming glitch or a curious artifact within the vast informational universe. It is an invitation to question the very foundations of what we deem real, to look beyond the surface of the data that shapes our daily lives. The persistence of this phantom metropolis, visible on all navigation devices yet inaccessible to our footsteps, serves as a potent reminder that information, however precise and ubiquitous it may appear, can harbor mysteries transcending our immediate comprehension. It teaches us that truth often resides not solely in what we can see and touch, but also in the lacunae, the anomalies, the blank spaces that challenge our certainties. What thus emerges from the journey through this peculiar phenomenon is an expanded understanding of the intersection between the physical and digital worlds, and how this boundary is becoming increasingly tenuous and fluid. The city that isn't there, yet which all maps insist on displaying, acts as a mirror to our own capacity for belief and for constructing realities. It shows us how technology can, simultaneously, reveal and conceal, how the algorithms we use to navigate the world can create their own legends and myths. The true practice begins now, that of dwelling with this open question, of cultivating the curiosity that drives us to explore not only what is mapped, but also what hides in the margins, in the inexplicable. It is an invitation for us, as we look at our digital maps tomorrow, to do so with a newfound sense of wonder and an acknowledgement that the unknown territory may be closer than we imagine, manifesting in ways we are still learning to decipher.